Kitchen Talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen Talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen Talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen Talk, Lisa, Lopre, JT, and friends. Kitchen Talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen Talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen Talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen Talk, Lisa, Lopre, JT, and friends.
Lisa, Lopre, JT, and friends. Y'all ready to cook up some conversation? Come on.
Kitchen Talk.
Let's talk.
Happy New Year.
Hey. What's going on, my brother?
Good, my brother. How are you? Oh, man, I love the shirt, brother.
Oh, yeah. We're repping Beta New today.
Yes,
You
sir.
know?
Yes, sir. Oh, man, great conversation. It's a new year, new outlook.
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah, I know we were going to talk about resolutions, but I know you hot.
you already know. You already
Yes.
know. I mean,
Yes.
this is a built-in conversation, right? Like,
Right.
the world is
Right.
having this conversation
Mm-hmm.
for the past, 2 days now.
Right. Well, you know, and this is the thing. You know, we saw this coming.
We did.
And I think this is part two of George Floyd. And what I mean by that is this is the first time that America now really gets to see what we've been saying as Black Americans, that, hey, look, all things ain't equal. Because you saw it. I mean, you know, they some police just moved out the way and let them in. Whereas when Black Lives Matter was there, they had National Guard, everything, you know? So, and that's just one aspect of the conversation. Just, you know, what was the preparedness? You know, you automatically thought that we were going to act up, and then you weren't prepared for this group. And they told you they were going to act up.
They told you what was coming. And that's the funny thing. What a way to start the year off, right?
Yes.
You knew this was going to happen, but you allowed it to happen.
Right.
And it made it even worse, right? And they have some pictures where they had police officers letting people pass, you know, letting people by. It's your job to protect and to serve, right?
Right.
But the question goes back to, who are you protecting? Who are you really serving?
Right. What's up, JT? Yeah.
JT look like
Hey.
You look like you ready to go on a Black Lives Matter movement, Trump rally, you know, all mixed into one right now.
So let me go ahead and say this. I wore this tank top tonight, so I can show y'all that my New Year's resolution started last year.
With 100 push-ups a day. I think you started in like March. This year we gotta put it on record to see how many you do every day, man. If you stand on track, right?
Hey, listen, I stopped doing the push-ups. I'm back in the gym now, so
okay.
We're trying to get this thing all the way together.
Well, you know, that's what Dr. Scott and I were just talking about. We got to get it right. We got to get ourselves right, our mind right, our country right. And, you know, it started off on a note where I think it was a good thing that this happened. And people are like, what? It brought the light to what was in the dark.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to see how ugly you are. You got to see how bad you are. You got to see, you know, this is the true me before you actually make the change. So JT, you showing us the true you right now.
Yep. Hey, I just saw Lisa post something say like, really, JT?
Yeah. and it's a good thing because we can only get better, right? Once we are true to who we really are.
Right.
What was shown last night. Last night was shown the trueness of what America was hiding in the dark place. Right. Yeah. They brought it into the light, and it's good because now it can be addressed by those people who knew it was there, but chose to disregard it.
Right.
Listen to it.
Right. You know, and I was just going to say, this actually goes, what we're talking about with what happened at the Capitol really goes to New Year's resolutions as well, because in order for you to really set a New Year's resolution, to thine own self be true. You can only resolve to fix or change that which you know needs to be fixed or changed. Correct. You know what I'm saying? And so with that now, hopefully, as a nation, you know, we have to come as a whole, as a United States, we need to have a resolution. You know, that we can't, we must be honest with ourselves that there's levels of privilege that allow this to happen on the other day, whereas when Black Lives Matters march, it was not allowed to happen because that same privilege was not granted. Am I making sense? And so as America, we must now be able to understand this is not white blessing. This is white privilege. And we have to address that and understand that all things aren't even. And now we can really say we can fix it. And like I say, you know, we started seeing this early last year, you know, when that happened in George Floyd, because before that, everybody was like, no, it can't be that bad. Then it's put right in your face.
It was before that too. When Charlottesville. Charlottesville was the real litmus test for this, because they were coming out, you know, they had their fire and their sticks, and they were ready to do something, but nobody knew what they were going to do. Same thing in the Capitol. What was the end game? Why do all of this? And you got nothing in the end, right? It was no checkmate.
It was what was crazy was if you look at MSNBC and then you look at CNN and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this. These vigilantes, these what words they were using. They didn't say thugs, but they said but then listen, when you get the Fox News, it's like, oh my God, what pushed them to the tipping point of I'm like, man, what?
It was you.
Yes. But you know, and that goes back to the power of media.
Yeah.
And not just, you know, TV, but social media. You know, people get only the side that they want to see. You know what I mean? Do you think about this, how the algorithms work? You know, if you click on one video, it's designed to send you another video just like that. Correct. So these people can identify who you are, how you think, how you act, and what you're more likely to buy based off of everything you clicked on. So if a person clicks on one conspiracy, guess what they're going to get? They're going to get another one and another one. And so now in their mind, everybody's saying it. So this conspiracy has to be true.
Correct.
You know, it has to be true. That's all they get. That's all they see. And you think about it. If a person's fed hate all their life, they're going to be hateful.
That's correct.
It's
going to take a resolution, right, to say it's time to change.
Right.
But in this case, I know we talk about New Year's resolutions, but we really need some new goals, right? It can't just be a wish, because, you know, just like every year we make these resolutions, and by the 15th, before the 15th, people they've already stopped, right? You know, I know JT gonna stay on his push-ups, but
I'm still on it. Hey, listen, I want to look in a few months. I want to look like Apollo Creed.
I I love it.
I hear you. Well,
I'm gonna be in there with you, man. I'm getting back. But a lot of people don't stick to it. They let it down because they just made a wish. They didn't make a goal. They didn't make it specific. And in terms of our country, are we making some real goals? Like, what is the goal? Now that we have the Senate, we have the House, we have the presidency. Okay, what is the goal for us to be a better nation?
Well, can I ask this question? What do you mean by we? And I'm just saying that because you're saying the Democratic Party has the House. The Democratic Party has the Senate. A Democrat was elected president, but that does not mean everything is going to benefit us as a people.
No, exactly. And that's why I said America.
So,
because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent. It's an American thing, and I think that's what we keep missing. Whether you're black, white, brown, purple, yellow, you're an American.
But JD, let me ask you this question. And you tell me what you think. I joke around and say this is that Obama effect, right? and what I mean by that is when Barack Obama became president,
we thought we made it.
Well, yeah, we thought we made it. But let me see what you think about this, though. But not only that, there were some people that was so mad that he became president that they hoped he fell in spite of whether it's best for the nation or not.
Correct.
And I think do you think that, what we're seeing now as far as with someone like President Trump is actually the answer or their answer to Barack Obama? You know what I'm saying? We're so hateful. I've never heard people until he became president saying, I hope he failed. And you had, Republicans and Democrats hoping that he failed. So that was showing that racism, that hatred that was on the inside of them, it was rising up. And at that time, it's already happened. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Stuff like that. But it becomes more just like in your face in the sense that we really don't care now. And so we're back in the day where people feel like, I can do this, treat you bad because I don't care because ain't nothing going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen. And I think that's what, that was what our grandfathers, our grandmothers dealt with. I've had uncles tell me some of the things that they dealt with growing up in the 60s and stuff like that, dealing with I don't want to say white folks, but but I've heard a lot of stories behind some things that from people that lived back in that era, and I must say that it was really sad. Everything was very sad,
Yeah.
And dealing with some of my people, I've heard some people say that I wasn't scared of them. I did this, I did that, blah blah blah. It was a miracle that I had one uncle tell me it was a miracle that I didn't get killed because I whooped one, I did this, I did that. And I'm like, okay, but let's just be prayerful, man, that we didn't have to live through a lot of that stuff that they dealt with.
Yeah, it's a different type of effect, Doc, because when Obama got elected, here was a group who had position, who had authority, who got together and said, we're not going to let none of this happen, right?
Right.
When Trump got elected, although we didn't like it, we respected the office. We respected the position. And nobody said, oh, no, we're not going to push, none of the things that he did or he's wanting to do. He actually put in some policies that, for better or for worse, we're going to have to either change for the better or totally take him out. I think there's some things that he's done that's going to hurt us in the long run, but there's some things that he's done that's helped the economy as well, off of the back of Obama's piece, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, again, it's not that same sense of hatred of I'm going to stop all of the work that you do. Now, I know as all presidents have some type of, adversity, but Trump didn't have it like Obama did.
Well, I mean, I think his adversity I think his was different.
Yeah.
And what I mean by his was different was in the sense that his whole plan, when you start seeing him getting a lot of opposition, was basically plan, not class. His plan basically was because all he tried to do, most of it, I mean, you think about this, most of the thing that was starting to blow up was when he first came in, you know, what do you want to do? Get rid of the Affordable Care Act.
Correct.
Yep. You know, and so, hey, you know, you're affecting millions of people. You're going to be fought. You're going to get pushed back on that. You know, you want to take billions of dollars and build a wall. You're going to get pushed back on that, so forth and so on. So, you know, some of his things that he dealt with was policy. And then some of the things he dealt with as far as getting pushed back was because of personal reasons, what he did.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? You know, what he did, the things that he did, and let's just be honest, you know, being very unpresidential.
Correct.
You know, but again, that's what a lot of Americans wanted. A lot of Americans wanted someone who was no longer, you know, hey, that's what you got. You know, you wanted somebody who was outside of and you know, of mainstream politics. And so you think you're going to bring a guy in, and that's just certain questions I have. Like, how can you give this man credit for being a successful businessman when pretty much every business that he's had has failed? But we keep saying he's a successful businessman, and maybe that's what we need, a successful businessman to run this country. Well, then we needed to get a successful businessman. He wasn't it.
I think it was, and I think that shows a lot too, that it's not just, it's the leadership piece, right? So, you know, a lot of Americans, I think, allowed this to go through because they were trying to line their pockets just as much as he was. So they allowed the, you know, the character flaws, the issues to kind of slide. Yeah. But again, when that serpent brought his head out and you saw it, either you have to run from it or cut the head. And at this point, they're trying to cut the head.
Yeah. Oh, talking about right? Yeah. I'm noticing. I'm noticing. Oh my God.
I don't know. You know, in every presidency, you come in with a goal, with a plan, with an objective. And he had so many issues, firing a lot of people that he hired. His cabinets, a lot of the positions were not filled throughout his presidency. I mean, even up until last night, somebody, you know, the Secretary of Transportation resigned from her job. Yeah. So, you know, it's that type of leadership. Business is one thing, but leadership is another. Right.
Well, I mean, but you know, I mean, you would think that every great businessman should have great leadership ability, or the ability to understand that I need to put great leaders around me. You know, I was thinking about this because one of the greatest basketball players ever, team has not had any success since he's been majority owner. Right. And one of the things that was said was, and I'm going to relate this back to our current, soon to be, you know, past president, is the fact that, you know, he lied, people around him were afraid to tell him the truth. So he was never really getting any real feedback. You know what I mean? And so when we look at that, we look at this current president. If you gave him real feedback that did not go along with what he said, he fired you.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. So you had a lot of people who then either just kept quiet, went along with his plan, or they you know, they were let go. You follow what I'm saying? So you know, to me also, one of the questions becomes is really what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, what does he, I ask this question, what does he have on a person like Ted Cruz? Because if you go back to Ted Cruz before, when they were running for presidency, Ted Cruz was like he's the worst person. Basically, he's not presidential. He's not fit to be president. And all of a sudden now, everybody else after what happened, after what happened the other day, he still wants to object to the election.
The election. Yeah.
What does this man have on you? You know what I mean?
Right.
He got a gold mine.
Well, here's the thing. Loyalty is a big thing, right? Loyalty and dedication goes a long way. And you have people who have died over, being on the wrong side, right?
Yeah.
So it's important. Yeah, I'm going to be with you, but I need to know that you're on the right side of right, you know? And sometimes that's me telling you, hey, this is the right way to go, even though I know it's against what you want to do.
Yeah. So that leads me to this point as far as like one of the most common, not the most common, but a common New Year's resolution is I'm going to be a better friend. Right. Mm-hmm. So then part of being a better friend is being able to say, you know what, I'm going to tell you the truth because that's what's best for you. You follow what I'm saying? And a lot of times we have to ask ourselves, do we have a lot of yes people around us? Or do we have people who are going to tell us the truth? You know what I'm saying? That and even though we might not like the truth and we might walk away for a second, but then the whole point is, can we handle the truth? Yeah. But I think, that goes back to, one of the New Year's resolutions is if you're resolving to be a better friend, then be a friend that's going to tell someone the truth, because that might save their life or that might save their career, more so than being a yes person and saying, hey, man, I'm with you. It's more to it than being a ride or die friend.
Correct.
And I think sometimes that's what we want. We want a friend that's going to ride or die. No, let's ride and live.
Correct. Yes, most definitely. And to be honest with you, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to be honest with you, man, I'm one of the type of people, like, I don't want yes people around me. I would prefer to have a friend that's gonna tell me the truth. Like, for instance, a little while ago, I was just gonna do this show with my shirt off, just so I could just like, just so I could be like, all right, they gonna really see now. I'm gonna show the 2-pack. I'm gonna show the guns there, but.
Who's your friend? I need to tell your friend thank you.
Thank you.
Who's your friend?
Oh man!
To add to the
it's more like a 4-pack right now, but we almost there. We almost there. I cut back on my sweets and my carbs and everything so I can get back right.
And Lisa was trying to be a friend when she said, really, JT?
Right.
I understand that. But Lisa, look, Lisa, watch this.
You know what? This is the essence of also the New Year's resolution, is surrounding yourselves with the right people, right?
Yeah.
I was today I started my class. All the universities, pretty much all of the universities are back in business at this point. But as I was teaching my class, I told my students, let's reflect on last year a little bit and who was in your corner, who was with you throughout that process, right? We make these New Year's resolutions, but then we miss out.
You see that comment? Thanks for keeping your shirt on.
Right.
We miss out on
having this. I bet I look better than your husband. How about that?
Oh Lord. We're gonna have to add these people to the show soon.
Go ahead, Franz.
We need the right people to keep us on track, right? Because we make these resolutions, we make these goals. Marvin, I know you're doing the show with financial literacy and saving your money and preparing, and that's a big one every year. A lot of people make that goal. Like, I want to get my finances right. I want to save more money. I want to, do X, Y, and Z. But they try to do it alone.
Right.
It's important that we surround ourselves with the right people to help push us, motivate us, inspire us, so that because those low times are going to come.
Yeah.
So we need those people to help us back up.
And I think, what you're saying is so key, and just keeping it, talking about New Year resolutions, and you're talking about goals, and just surrounding yourself. If your goal is to be a better friend, you should make the person around you better. You follow what I'm saying? And so I'm just thinking about that too, and just keeping it with the events that have also happened recently. You think about this. President-elect Biden, he ran before and didn't win.
Yes.
Okay. But he accepted the vice presidency with somebody who was different from him, and they kept it real with each other.
Right.
And I heard President Obama say that Biden made him a better president because he just wasn't a yes man. And he just didn't agree. But they were able to have real conversations. It's you have a real good friend when you can disagree and still be friends.
Correct.
That we don't necessarily see this point the exact same way. But, this is why I see it this way. And if my points can help you become better, and you sit there and you think about it and you evaluate and you say, you know what, I'm going to take this, I'm going to become better. You know what I'm saying? And so I just ask the question, and we don't know, but do you think Biden would have became the candidate for presidency if he had not had someone who became his friend like Barack Obama, and they sharpen each other, iron sharpen iron?
Love it.
So becoming a good friend, how do you identify, that,
And you make a valid point. They did help each other in terms of making each other better. And that was my point from yesterday's events, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the people who were trying to separate themselves from the Trump, media, or the Trump circus, they were the same ones sharpening his iron, right? Yes. Adding the fire to the flames from all of the people from the vice president on down.
Yeah.
I hear the same people who are like, no, this was a travesty, blah, blah, blah. I'm hoping that we remember this in 2022 during the elections and start getting ourselves ready to vote some of these people out.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we don't have a short-term memory like some of us do when it comes to New Year's resolutions. and we actually go out and say, yeah, you did make a difference, but it's too late at this point. You were the main one pushing for this type of situation to happen. You added to this. You were part of this too.
Yeah. It says what it says. It takes real maturity to respect and accept that just because we don't agree doesn't make us enemies. And that is so true. That is so true. And that comment right there is dead in the center of where we are in America. Before, you could be Republican and Democrat and disagree on policies, right? And how you think things should be done, but you always agree upon the truth. The truth was the center, you know what I mean? And now here it is. It's not about what's right or what's wrong. It's the fact that you're a Democrat, I'm Republican, and I'm gonna side with him. No matter how wrong this person is, I'm gonna side with him because that's what I'm doing. So we really became immature.
I honestly,
go ahead, JT. Go ahead.
But I honestly felt like that there were a lot of Republicans that kind of like saw that he was wrong with a lot of the stuff that he did inside of his rhetoric and everything, and what he pushed, and they were like, you know what? Forget Republican versus Democrat. Forget Democrat versus Republican. Right. He is wrong. I'm not with it. We gonna go ahead and do what we got to do to correct it.
Yes,
that's exactly what I was going to say, that, the Republican Party essentially split again, right?
Yeah.
In terms of, hey, we're Trumps and we're Republicans. And it just made it hard to actually really, do business. So again, there's people who need to be accountable. It's just not there's a lot of other people who should be accountable for this, from Marco Rubio on down.
You know, and honestly, you know, like the Georgia Secretary of State, you know,
yes,
that person really got my respect. You follow what I'm saying? There was a Republican who said that, you know what, hey man, I'm no longer Republican. I'm going independent. I don't really like what Democrats, but I'm going independent because I don't like where we are. Those people have my respect, because all I ever wanted was for everybody to be acknowledged, to acknowledge that wrong is wrong. You follow what I'm saying? I'm not saying that every president is going to be perfect. I'm not going to say that every president won't have character flaws or different things like that. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, is there were so many things that, you know, I mean, come on now. We got to be able to call a spoon a spoon.
You got to know what it is, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you got to know, hey, it's time to change my shirt.
Yeah.
Right.
What happened was, I got caught up. I was looking, and then I kept chest flexing. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and put my shirt on, because I don't want nobody's wife to be tempted by what's going on this camera. So I was like, let me just go ahead and put something on real quick. You know,
we appreciate you, brother.
We do. You know,
yes,
that's
really, Lisa LeRae. Really.
That's another issue with the New Year's resolution. You got temptations. You got temptations, right?
Well, but this is one thing I was thinking about, though, when it comes to resolutions. You know what I mean? We lose motivation so quickly. So the question becomes, how bad did we want it in the first place?
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
You know, so we have to ask ourselves, why am I not completing or sticking with the goal? You know, one, did I, you know, because we say set goals, but was my goal specific enough?
I was just thinking that.
How do I measure it? You know what I mean? You know, because SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, achievable. What's the was it repeat or something like? And then time.
Times, exactly.
Yeah. So being
relevant.
Relevant. You know, how can I tell, if I am accomplishing my goal? So then it gets to what is success? And my success may be different from your success. Mm-hmm. So I think one of the things is we must give is a definition of success that will help people stay on track, because sometimes people give up because it seems like they're not achieving their goal.
Correct. I agree. JT, you're hitting it on the point in terms of getting in the gym. That's probably the biggest resolution that most people make is I want to lose weight. I want to get back fine. I want to be ready for summer.
And I'm talking about, it's probably like, maybe 85 or 90% of the people say that every year. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get healthy, this and that, yada yada yada. And about 2 weeks in, hey, listen, the gym is just pulling money out of your bank account. Yeah, you ain't even going. You not even going.
Right.
Hey,
man.
Hey, the goal was 50 and fine, but I'm 53 and it's still me.
Well, that's the other piece. I think sometimes we go back to, I got another day. I have another year. I have another opportunity.
I'm going to start on Monday.
Right. I get another new year. I wait till 2022. Right. Mm-hmm. But if we did what Dr. Scott just said, if we made it smart, right? These are the things that I want to do every day. I'm going to do 100 push-ups every day. That's a specific goal, right? How do you measure it? Well, I count it.
Right.
Every day.
Damn, I'm going to tell you, that was not easy at all, man. It was not easy.
And that's where you go. Is it relevant?
Yeah. Right?
Is it attainable? It's not easy, but it is obtainable. You can do it.
Yes.
JT, did you do yours all in one sitting? I think I asked you that, or did you do?
No,
your...
I used to break mine down into 20s.
Now that's smart.
But no. But listen though, it was timed. I never like sat there for like 15, 20 minutes and then do another set of 20. I'll do 20, then maybe wait like 40 seconds, and I'm back in until I could like count down, just like drop the time every, more and more. Then I got to the point like, all right, I can do 100 push-ups. Okay, we good all the way through till I can get to like, started going to 150. I was like, all right, this is what I'm talking about. Then you see some gains, you're like, all right, let's get back in the gym and see what I really do.
But it's obtainable. You could do it. Once you start, you realize that it is obtainable, but you have to make it smart, right? You have to make it realistic. Am I really going to do the 100 push-ups every day? Like, am I really going to go to the gym, or am I just giving them my money? So we got to make it real, right? Yeah. And then we got to put a time limit on it.
Yeah, and I think too, for example, how JT did his 100, that was great. But for somebody else, if I can get you to do 100 push-ups combined throughout the day, that in itself may be a win for somebody else. To thy own self be true. Start where you can start. And the thing is, just get started. And then, the other thing is understanding that, to me, success is steady progress towards a worthy goal. So make sure your goal is worthy of your time. You know what I mean? I think that's the first thing is a lot of times we stop because we feel like this goal is no longer worthy or we're not worthy. So we stop, but it's steady progress towards a worthy goal. So set a worthy goal that's achievable. And then, understand steady progress, not perfection, but steady progress. If I make progress every day, at some point in time, I'll get there. You know what I mean? If I don't get all the way to the mountaintop, I tell you what, I'll be close to the peak though.
Yeah, consistency is key, man. Just be consistent.
Yeah.
So it begs to the question again. By the way, when I was doing my 100 push-ups, I did it all in one setting.
I don't care.
It took me time to do it. So JT, I was like you. I started doing it, took a break, but then I kept doing it. And I realized, man, I could just quickly push 100 out. And then I said, well, if I could do 100, then I could do 200. Yeah. So my next question is, how do we go to the next level? Right? It's going back to the consistency, going back to yesterday. Where is the country going to go from here?
Ah, boy, that's a good question.
Well, I know one thing is we can't go back to that. That's not where we want to be. But I think that the thing is this is now that we've pulled the scab off, hey, the wound is exposed and we really see where we are. I think, to me, just, one of the big thing is we got to do things because we love this nation and we love other people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's one thing that we were talking about in church is that one of the biggest problems is that you don't love anybody. People just don't love the same way. And so think about this. If you really loved your neighbor, you wouldn't have a hard time wearing a mask if they felt uncomfortable with you not wearing one. If you really love them, it's I'm gonna put one on because I want you to feel comfortable. You follow what I'm saying? You think about this when they start talking about stimulus and giving the stimulus checks. You think about this. They had enough money stimulus that they could have gave every family, not every person, but every family close to it, about $20 million. I mean, $20,000.
Yeah.
And $20,000 and say, hey, you know what? For a month, 2 months, stay home.
Right.
That's if you really love the people.
Right.
But instead, you gave big business millions of dollars.
Millions.
And then you give the family $600, like that's going to take them through a month.
Correct.
That ain't even enough to pay their rent. Not even enough to pay their mortgage.
Right. So leaders, the people that we put in office and position, I don't care Democrat or Republican, has to be there because they love the people.
Correct.
And not because they've always wanted to be in office. And they sell you the game of I want to do what's best for the people. And then when they get there, they do what's best for the people that help put them in office. And what I mean by that is not the people who voted. They do what's best for the people who gave money.
Correct. I said this in this setting before, like running for office for me, if it would only happen for me if I have my own money to push through, right? Because if I know that I have to depend on X company, Y company to push, and then I have to do everything that they tell me once I get in, then it's not really worth it. We need to do it for the people, for the love. And you hit it on the head, man.
Yeah, so I like that.
Hard holiday season. I missed that.
Sandra said they do what's best to keep themselves in power, and that is it. So it's about power. It's not about love. You know, the Bible says, you know, though I speak with tongues of men and angels, if I have love, it's nothing. Everything we do should be motivated, one, for the love of people and the love of this nation when it comes to our elected officials.
Right.
Our elected officials are there to take care of the people. They are our voice. And if you're going to really be the voice of the people, you must love the people.
Well, I would say this. What she said, this is my indifference and politics. So I get Lisa, but I think it goes back to when you said love, it goes back to the love of your neighbor, right? I can't get it all the way to the top until I start with myself, right? These are the people that vote. We're voting people in. So if I have a corrupt spirit and a corrupt mindset and a corrupt, it's all about me. Who do you think I'm gonna be voting in? I'm not voting in.
Yeah.
But think about this. Think about this though. When you think about that and you look at the president that we had from 2016 to 2020, when you look at him, he wasn't a person that really cared about the people. He was a person that cared about himself. And he stroked whatever flame and he said whatever he needed to say, that as long as it was best for him. If you don't have nothing to hide, show the emails. Why plead the fifth? But then you tell everybody around you, you better plead the fifth. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, even as of yesterday, when he told the crowd, I'm going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue with you. We're going to walk together.
You know, right? Well.
And the people, you know, fell for it, thought that he was behind them, or he was, and he's sitting in his office just watching the whole thing like everybody else in the comfort of his home or in the comfort of the White House. And everybody else has to pay the consequence. And that's the problem. They leave you high and dry. It's not about you. And I'm hoping that the people actually see that, right? The people see the trueness of
their president.
But it's not just about the president, though. It's about any elected official that's not going to do what's best for the people.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Then that person doesn't deserve to be in office.
I saw that in Georgia in a lot of the ads. You had a lot of Republicans who said, no, I'm not voting for this Republican because, you know, she was the one who took away the hospitals. Yeah, she was trying to take away our land. She was the one taking away benefits that we need. So it always baffles me that people will vote against their own interests, right? You will vote people in who are going to hurt you, not help you.
Yeah, but go. No, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, I'm like, a lot of times I sit there and I wonder, like, why is it that you're a Republican anyway? And you know what some Republicans stand for. You know, a lot of Republicans are about money. They're about power and stuff like that. Well, you have neither. Why are you a Republican?
By association.
Why do you back them so much? I know why, because your forefathers taught you to hate. They taught you to be this way, and they taught you all of this other stuff. But come on, man, you got to be smart at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I want to point out. I don't think just because a person is Republican, they've been taught to hate. I don't think that's. I don't think that, because you got to understand, when President Obama was elected, you had Democrats who hoped he failed.
Yeah.
So you can't go there just because Republican or Democrat, and because every Democrat ain't for you either. You know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the day, you got to start voting people in office that's going to be best for you as a whole, as
Republican or Democrat or independent.
Because sometimes, my thing is this: sometimes the best person may not be the person in your party.
That's right. That's right.
You got to vote for what's best for the nation, and that's going to benefit you as well as your neighbor. I think, Democrat, let me just say this. I feel like too, sometimes Democrats feel like they don't have to appreciate your vote as a Black person because they automatically got your vote. Because hey, Blacks, you just vote Democrat. That's just what you do. You know what I'm saying? Because we were raised Democrat.
Right.
And so they need to appreciate the Black vote and want the Black vote just like everybody else. You know what I mean? But you don't do that if they don't have to do that, if they know they have your vote just willy-nilly, because just by sheer fact of, hey, election, they automatically know they got your vote. So I don't have to say anything to you. I don't have to appeal to you. I don't have to try to put things in place that's going to benefit you and your community, while they're doing everything else to benefit all these other communities. They don't have to, because they know you're going to vote that way anyway.
It's what you're saying. You got to work for it. And bringing back to our New Year's resolution piece, you got to work for it, right? Yeah. You can't just think it's going to happen by osmosis, right? JT, you're not going to get that six-pack by osmosis. You got to put in them push-ups and sit-ups.
Man, listen, you do not understand what it takes when I got to listen, dude. I don't eat sugar during the week. I eat something during the weekend now. I got to have a little something every now and then. But man, I cut back on the sugar, the carbs, and everything else, just so you can, like a lot of people think, you can go and do a lot of crunch. You can do all the crunches that you want, but if you don't change your diet and the way you eat, man, you just gonna have a bunch of muscle up under some fat. That's it.
It goes again. Melt that fat away. People don't see the work that needs to go into it. I think people kind of discount that, whether it's voting for the next person or, fulfilling whatever resolution or goals that you have is going to take some work. What are you actually going to do? Or as JT just pointed out, what are you going to sacrifice? What are you really going to sacrifice to get that goal in? Sacrificing your sweets for the whole week, it's big. It's big. Sacrificing, maybe doing something that you like to do, knowing that you got to put in the hour for the workout. That's big. So, I'm hoping that this year people realize that it's gonna be where what she said, no magic crossover. You gotta work. You gotta work. You gotta work.
But you know what I found work for me? I put on an exercise video when I go to sleep, and I just wake up feeling like I hope that worked.
Listen, you can't just you got to do the P90X with the person.
That's why I'm not seeing the results.
Man.
They got a lot of people watching, Doc. They watching, but they're not
working with it.
Nah, man.
And that goes back to everything we're saying is when you have elected officials that you've elected, we got to work with them. We got to stay in their face. We got to keep our agenda in front of them, because see, poor people don't have a lobbyist. The rich people do. Correct. We as a people have to be the lobbyists for ourselves and keep our agenda in front of those who are in office, letting them know, hey, look, you know what? Hey, the election's coming around, and if you don't do what we need you to do, guess what? We're going to elect somebody else to do it.
I agree. I agree. You know, I have an article called, and I have my students read it every semester, Seeing versus Seeking, or Seeking versus Seeing. And there's a lot of people who like to see, they like to watch, you know, the good things, the things that they want. But when it comes time to seek it, to work for it, nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm hoping that we do just that, Doc. I'm hoping that we don't stop here, that we, now that we have a new president, but that we get ready to vote again in 2022. We're already talking about it. We're already thinking about it. We're already planning for it, so that when it comes, we're not blindsided. Like, oh, I got to vote. Yeah, you got to vote again.
But part of that too then is like you say, if that's our New Year's resolution, that we're going to be, you know, hey, you know, more aware and more alert. And when it comes to voting, then we got to make sure that the individuals that's in office, that wants to stay in office, if that's supposed to be our person, then we got to stay in front of them to make sure they're doing the work as well to earn our vote, and not just automatically just, you know, hey, we're going to give you this vote. You follow what I'm saying? So, but hey, I'm gonna stop talking about politics. It's about New Year's resolutions.
We got 10 minutes left, so I really do want to hear, you know, what is your resolution for the year? What is your goals for the year?
Well, honestly, you know, for a while, you know, actually I stopped doing New Year's resolutions. And I'll be honest, the reason I stopped doing New Year's resolutions, I stopped doing it for years, is because I started out strong, but it didn't last long.
Right.
Just went about the whole thing wrong.
No.
You gotta get it right.
It came to an end. But
say that again. I say that again. I started out low, but I didn't last long.
Yeah, I started out strong, but it didn't last long. I guess I went about the whole thing wrong, because out of nowhere it just came to an end, because we became lovers before we became friends.
Woo! I love it.
That's old hip hop song. But so you know, I wasn't keeping them anyway. So then I said, well, I won't set them. But then I find out that most people who don't set new goals or New Year's resolutions, guess what? More of them don't accomplish anything than the people who set goals and or New Year's resolutions and fall off. So I say you got to do something. But you know, this year, one of the things we've been talking about is, you know, I just want to show more love.
Okay.
I just want to be a person, and you know, the thing is you have to be careful with that, because when people know you want to be more loving, you got the vultures, right? So you got people who want to take advantage of that. So you have to then set, okay, what in my mind is a person for me that's more loving, a person for me that's more caring. You know what I mean? So I want to do more outreach. I want to give more outreach. Now, you don't have to know how much I give. And so if somebody comes and asks me for something, I say, no, I'm not going to give it to you. They say, oh, I thought you were wanted to be more loving. I am, because I'm doing more. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean I'm not doing it, you know, but as long as I can measure it and make steady progress towards that, I think this year I want to show more love, you know, and then hopefully, you know, cause others to do the same thing, that we can bring more love back into our homes, our neighborhoods, and this, you know, in this nation.
I love it. Because it can be measured. It is obtainable, right? It's relevant, because we need it right now, and you could put a time limit on it, right? So I love it. I just, you know, you want to make it smart, and I think it's a goal that can be achieved.
Yeah. So, you know, so for me, it's, you know, at least, you know, having goals where at least, you know, this week I want to be able to bless somebody. Right. You know, this month I want to have done X, Y, and Z. You know, that's.
And that's where I was getting to. You got a plan, right? Okay, these are the organizations I want to support this year, right?
Right.
This month, this is the group that I want to help. So,
right.
The way be done so that it can be done in an efficient way and you don't feel taxed.
Right.
A lot of people stop doing their goals because it's not efficient. They didn't have a plan, and it's more work than they thought it was going to be. So then they just let it go. But I like that one. I really do. JT, what's yours? 'Cause I was gonna tell you about a foundation that we talked about last year, Doc, but I'm gonna have to share that email with you in terms of research, you know.
Okay.
So the people I want to help, I want to know that they're helping others. That's why I said that.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
It's being, you know, changed over. We're moving this needle, whatever the agenda.
And it's good that you said that, because one of my New Year's resolutions is I really want to be able to reach back. And what I mean by that is that anytime that I reach a goal, I want to be able to reach back and pull somebody else up. You know, I don't want to see my brothers down, and knowing that I can help, and knowing that I've gotten to a certain place and I don't reach back and just help pull somebody else up. And I think that's probably one of my biggest goals for 2021.
I love it, but I think you want to make it more specific too. Like, okay, I'm going to reach back and help 5 people. Right? 3 people, 2 people. That way, you know, okay, I reached the goal. And that it could be the number that you want. Begin, like Doc said, to thy own self be true. So you got the time to figure out, you know, what it is that you want to do to make it work. My resolution, I actually started on it, was to add more knowledge to my base by reading more books. So I actually bought a whole series of books to read this year. So my goal is to get at least 2 books out the way every month. And on top of all the other things that I do, I wanted to add at least 2 books, at least 2 every month, besides the ones that I listen to on Audible.
Yeah. Is there any specific types of books you're saying that you want to read?
Well,
or
the ones that I have currently is all motivational. So, you know, a lot of the work I do is motivational, inspirational work. Again, leadership, team building. So it's one thing to be that leader that actually shares that information, but you also have to be an educator or educated on it too. So I like to dive into, you know, what are other people saying about this, and you know, what's the newest way of looking at some of the same things that we've been looking at, and just getting a fresh perspective. So that's been my goal. Between that and getting more financially aware, you know, what else is there that I can do to add value to the money that I actually make? And how can we talked about this too, Doc, how can we make our money work for us, right? How can we go back out and do what it needs to do while I'm still doing whatever it is I'm doing? Right.
I want to make money while I'm asleep.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
So that's been my resolution, and you know, I'm tracking that as we speak. Today's market was wonderful, but coming up this year is going to be interesting, right? It's going to be interesting. How that works.
But they say money is a willing employee.
Put it to work.
Put it to work.
Put it to work.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think we all have some really good goals for the year. It's going to be, I think what we should do is mid-year, like June, we should come back and check on each other to see what type of progress have we made. Oh, what did she say?
Slight Edge
is a good motivational book.
Oh, who's the author? I'll look it up. I'll look it up. Thank you. Yeah. Definitely will look it up.
Yeah.
Slight Edge. I gotta look it up. I'm look it up right now. I think it will be a good idea for us to check up on each other. Right. And we said about the Kwanzaa thing. We were going to do Kwanzaa this year. Lisa and I kind of started it off on the idea of it and using the principles, not just in December, January, but throughout the year. So I think we should do a healthy check-in, like maybe every quarter, you know. You know, Doc, how many people you love? JT, how many push-ups did you do? How many other people you helped do 100 push-ups, right? That's
I think listen, when I started that thing, I had a nice little following, but it looked like a lot of people fell by the wayside. And it turned into like maybe 3 or 4 of us.
You gotta hold on to them. You gotta tell them, let's go. We got to get to the promised land, right?
I was trying. Man.
Well, I think that healthy check-in will keep us on track.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, here go Lisa telling us
Lisa.
we done did a good job.
Thank you, boss lady.
Thank you, Kylie.
A happy new year and to get better soon. She's a little bit together. So Lisa, we love you. Hope you get better soon and you'll be back to cause some drama.
Yeah. COVID got her coming up short. Oh, my bad. No, I'm sorry.
That cook.
Conversations that cook.
Guys, this is a great conversation. It was all guys. I think this is the first time we've had all guys, no Lisa. So
I know, right? Hey, Lisa got to cause trouble when she in the room, some kind of way.
There's a lot of testosterone up in here, so we did good, fellas.
Yeah, that right there just go to show like men can get along. It's them women folk that be causing trouble. It's them. They the problem.
Hey, listen, that all depends on what you're talking about. Cause listen, I ain't never seen guys play a game of basketball and ain't get in a fight. Come on, man. We don't need all the drama.
JT's from the country. JT's from the country. You didn't even have to say basketball. You just had to say spades.
Nah, well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Even though I know how to play, I've never been a big spades guy. You know.
Well, don't play with me, because I'm serious about that thing.
I know everybody that I know that's serious about it. Everybody that I know they got. Oh no, you can't do this. You can't do that. Oh, I know you ain't cutting. Man, what you doing? You cutting across the board? You cut my day. I'm like, come on, man. Is it that serious? But clearly, it's that serious.
It's that serious.
Man, great show, great time. I can't wait for us to do it again and for us to do the check-in, the New Year's Eve check or the New Year's resolution check-in. Mm-hmm. And Doc, I guess we'll have you back very soon. Before we go, Doc, tell the audience about your show.
Every first Friday, we do First Friday Finance. We talk about, right now we're going through how to set a budget. And so I've been actually put up an example of a budget and going through how to allocate your money and so forth and so on. Just help you to be more financially aware so that you can have money to invest. I tell people I'm not a financial advisor, but my goal is to get you to a place where you have money to realize that you need one.
Yeah. I love it. So I'm hoping that people check in. I'm gonna check in. This Friday, 7:00, right? No, we missed it.
Last
Friday I missed it too. it was New Year's.
It was New Year's. So we gotta wait till
February. First Friday in February.
We'll send a reminder out with the group, and then we'll get it started. Let us know if there's any homework that we need to do before class.
Okay, well, if you haven't seen it, then I would tell you need to keep a record of how you spend your money.
Got you.
So just spend normal, but keep track of how you spend your money, and then we go from there. As far as now, you can see where you spend your money at, what things are essential, what things are non-essential. So then you can figure out what things you need to cut out. And then we can start now putting money towards saving or putting it in Robinhood or Acorn or something like that and causing your money to make money.
I love it. On that note, guys, I will see you, JT, next Thursday, Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that
cook.
Yes, they do.
Yes,
men know how to pick it up too now.
Oh, yeah.
Have a good night, guys.
All right, good night. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Y'all have a good night.
Yes, sir.